capital is on the horns of dilemma as it is right now, which is the way forward. If Sonko appears today and is arraigned in court today and is thrown into the slumbers, what is left of the county? We have some options and we want to explore this with our panelists this morning. One of which is that the Speaker of the County Assembly, that is Beatrice Elachi, will have to take over now as the leader of the county for 60 days. So if that really elapses, what is a way forward as well, right? We're given an option also from the county, that is the Cabinet Secretary from the Ministry of Devolution, who has an executive order, that is Executive Order 1 of 2018, which can allow him to actually appoint a leader to oversee the county temporarily. And the other ones we want to exploit with our panelists this morning. But just given that scenario that we have today, Jeremiah Kioni, we started with you. I just want to hear you chiming over this as well. These options that we do have, they're not the prime solutions. What will be the prime solution? We have also from the BBI report saying that Nairobi should be a metropolis. Maybe they've seen the fact that leadership crisis can be also experienced in the leading capital also, I should say, in Africa.
I think one of the things is that, like I mentioned earlier, is that this is an area that may not have a clear provision in the books, in the statute books, as to what do we do next. But what you have alluded to is that the Speaker would be expected to step in for 60 days.
Yes, yes.
But perhaps even going a little bit before that, you will notice that without being judgmental, you see that it's like the governor of Nairobi has been trying to, or made every possible attempt to make sure that the necessary office of the deputy governor remained vacant or empty and unoccupied, perhaps to try and lengthen the time within which he would have remained unarrested,
yes,
something like that. And even perhaps also the reason why we had a crisis with the seat of the Speaker of the County Assembly. And you could tell the fact that we were trying to get a solution to the position of the Speaker, getting Elachi back in office. I think the writing was on the wall that this was going to happen. But it has happened. And if we were to assume that the governor would be barred from holding the office for the time that this case, or his case is in court like it has happened with the others, then the question as to what happens to Nairobi is in the minds of everybody. And
yes,
I'm sure that is a thing that even the cabinet, the council of governors will be sitting to agree on. I look at the constitution and I see perhaps some, Mungani will help us perhaps even better, but quite a number of areas that can help us deal with this issue. There is like Article 198, which talks about when an election is being held to constitute a county assembly. Under this chapter, the executive committee, yes, of the county, as last constituted, remains competent to perform administrative functions until a new executive committee is constituted after the elections. Again, if we were, this may happen if we were to have elections after 60 days of Elachi holding on to power. When you look at Article 200 again, it also says Parliament shall enact legislation providing for all matters necessary or convenient to give effect to this chapter. In particular, provisions may be made with respect to the governance of the capital city and other cities and urban areas. These are, I'm looking at areas that could help the national government get a solution. But I can tell you, Dibal, is that by the time this decision was arrived at, yes, of arresting the governor, certainly solutions must have. What happens after he is arrested are issues that will have been discussed. And even as we look for what could happen, I'm also eager to see what the government, the national government, is going to do with the things that are likely to unfold after today being in court. But I think it is important to point out that it doesn't matter the office you hold. This is the message I think that is coming to all of us as Kenyans. It does not matter the office you hold. A solution will be found after the fact. If you misuse the office or there is a reason to believe that you have misused the office, misused the resources entrusted to you, the graft team will move on your case. And I think that is a major statement that comes out of this. And because I think we had gotten to a point where we thought some people, even as you continue arresting CSs and the rest, there are those who thought that once you have been called Your Excellency, you cannot be touched. And I think it's clear there is only one Excellency
Who cannot be touched
in the country who cannot be touched, and
Right.
the only true Excellency is the President of the Republic of Kenya.
Right, Hamad Manyora, also looking at that particular editorial cartoon that we have in the Daily Nation today. Maybe
about
you
some
comment.
people acting.
That is, yes.
Let me begin here, Deba. First of all, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I cannot discuss this Sonko business without first calling out the government. The manner of arrest. When Mwangi Ria, the governor of Murang'a, was arrested in a dramatic manner, I spoke against it. Seeing what happened to Sonko, what he has done aside, just that he's a governor of the capital city of Kenya, and the way in which he was handled, the way in which the whole thing was managed, it speaks volumes about the kind of people we are. We must respect ourselves. We must respect our institutions, because Sonko is the governor of Nairobi. He didn't elect himself. People elected him. We must live with our problems. If we elect bad people, we should then not move to the next level of the bar, where we embarrass ourselves internationally by dragging a governor. You cannot treat the governor of New York, for example, in that kind of manner. I want to believe that going forward, what DCI and DPP should be doing is to summon somebody to ACC. And at the point at which he must remain there and not go back to his family, then he's told, now, from now onwards, you are under arrest for this and this reason. You'll be going to court on Monday or tomorrow. That's the way we should go in future. I know this, the manner of arrest of Sonko also says something about what DPP and the DCI and the government in general are up to. They don't want to prosecute crime. They don't want to send thieves to jail. They just want to scare people. It has worked a bit. Kamata Friday has worked.
Yes.
But I think it has outlived its usefulness. Weighing its benefits against what it brings as negative to us as people, I think we must stop now. Summon the people, have them record statements, interrogate them, let them record statements, take them to court if you must.
Yes.
But to behave in that manner. Now, having said that, we now go to the subject. I'm not a lawyer, but I am surprised when I listen to very seasoned lawyers, some of them my friends, and how they bring in the deputy, the speaker. Some of them are bringing in a CEC member. You can call him a minister. I believe something in the bar.
Yes.
And this is the thing I believe. I believe that if you want to understand what is going on at the lower levels of government, which is a devolved unit and county government, you just go up at the presidency and cascade it down. So when we have a vacancy in the office of governor, why don't we look at what would happen if there was a similar vacancy in the office of the president? What Mwombi Ngogi did, I have no problem with it. What Justice Mwombi Ngogi did with the case of the Samburu governor and the case of Waititu,
Yes.
is to create a scenario where she's saying, look here, gentlemen and ladies, this is your governor. This is just how bad things are in your county. And this is the kind of person you are having for governor. We have no power to remove him from office. We are now returning this thing to you as a county assembly. And the natural thing for you to do is to impeach your governor. That's what Mwombi Ngogi. There's nothing else is left in between there. Look at the shenanigans in Kiambu now. For how long will Nyoro act? So even if Sonko had a deputy governor, just for how long would he act? Knowing as it were, the bar, that prosecution in this country take forever. So there are certain things we must do as a country. First of all, enact a law that puts a limit to how long it will take to prosecute a case. And I think the best person to argue this case is Senator Morgan here. So long as the courts take forever to prosecute, so how long will Waititu remain outside and Nyoro is acting? And there are certain things by law that I think an acting governor cannot do. So we have not reached a situation where Sonko has been impeached. He has no deputy. And I'm not quite seeing where the speaker is coming in. The speaker can only come in if Sonko is impeached, or if somehow he comes the end of the road, whichever way he comes the end of the road, and that office is vacant. Then the speaker comes in to act. But in the,
Thank you.
If you look at the national government, for example, just a second. If you look at the national government, for example, many people think Muturi is number 3 in the pecking order. No, in the operation of government, it is Duale who is number 3. Muturi only comes in and is important because if neither the president nor the deputy are able to discharge their duties, then he asks for the 90 days before the election. And that is a space Elachi then would occupy. There's no other space for her. She, according to me, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't see which other space she can.
All right. But if we find any merit in what Sonko is being alleged of, of course, he's got his hand in the public coffers as it is right now.
Yes.
And looking at the Constitution, it is very explicit on how we should handle this. I want us just to look at from there, because does he really pass muster as far as the Constitution is concerned, given that, yes, he is not really acting as his office deserves? Okong'o Mogini.
Thank you, Dipal. First, I think we need to commend the DCI and the EACC in terms of the effort that they have shown in pursuit of people who are suspected to be involved in corruption.
Yes.
And prima facie, I think what we have seen in terms of the reports issued by the DPP is that I think we have now taken our investigations a notch higher, because what I've seen covered in the papers is prima facie evidence of instances where a governor influences the award of tenders to particular entities, and once those entities are paid, that money is wired back to the governor. So in essence, is actually stealing money that is meant to provide services to the people of the county of Nairobi.
All right.
That is commendable.
For the sake of my viewers who do not really understand prima facie evidence, you need to break it down because we are not having a legal panel.
I mean, just on preliminary perusal of evidence which is before the DPP, there is evidence pointing to some illegalities on the part of the governor.
Right.
In that, entities of people who are maybe his associates or who are closely linked to him may have been given some contracts, and once they were paid, you know, on the face of it, there is nothing wrong in people being given contracts to do work. I think where the illegality steps in is when you receive the money as a company and then you wire it back to the accounts that are linked to Governor Sonko. I think that's where the problem steps in. So I think, Dibal, for me, I must say I am fully behind the DCI, behind the EACC. Let's scale up this war of fighting people who have been entrusted with public offices but who want to use those offices for personal enrichment. So on that score, I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for Governor Sonko.
So
I am with EACC on this. Let them tackle corruption in whichever way, as long as it's within the confines of the law. And on this particular case, it is within the confines of the law. They have done their investigations, forwarded the file to the DPP, he has perused the evidence gathered, and he is convinced that the charges that are being preferred against Governor Sonko can sustain a conviction in a court of law.